Kanata asks what if you were transported to another world, noting that you'd rejoice at getting a second chance at life. That being said, the chat cheers for sound-only streamer saying another fun livestream, and I look forward to hearing you again. Kanata warns that picking up streaming as a hobby is not recommended. He pauses simply because he explains you might end up in a situation like this. At Adarashia Roja's Kingdom Sistal Royal Academy, a teacher warns a student to be careful on the way home as the student says bye teacher. Inside the student dorm, Kanata kicks off his shoes sighing finally home now. He reaches out deciding that it's time. He prepares for another stream broadcasting sound only. Streamer shouts, "Oh, thanks for tuning in today. Yo guys, it's me Streamer," asking how was everyone's day as he says let's see what they're saying. He announces alright, time for the chat/advice segment reading the first letter. The letter reads, "Yo streamer, I'm Akuta, a B-rank adventurer." Akuta writes, the other day some guy joined our party, and he was so bad he could only use supportive magic to scout enemies and repair our weapons. So as the leader I obviously kicked him out. Adding it felt so good to watch him cry. A noble laughs Kanata asking, "Are you stupid?" Streamer explains scouting magic helps you avoid monsters, and you'll save on having to go to a repair shop, asking do you know how handy that is. He snaps saying you talk like you're above everyone else, asking what's with your tone anyway, asshole. He yells I don't care if you are a god or a king, giving a word of advice, that it's cause you won't have any support magic to rely on, just know if you end up in trouble during your adventures. He points a finger warning if you don't have proper judgment just resign right now, or you wanna wait until everyone's dead. The chat reacts saying you should get on your knees and beg for him to come back. Kanata drinks water thinking not sure if I got through to him or not, but I'd rather he not die early and didn't believe he was one of his listeners, saying let's go over to the next letter. He reads I'm the son of an upper-class family and I'm engaged. The writer says however I fell in love with a cute transfer student, and I'm thinking of choosing her instead, prompting streamer to yell I hope you die, and she ends up marrying me instead. He scolds this is not a matter that should be taken lightly, asking have you even thought about your family at all. He advises and don't choose people just based on looks, telling him to work on gaining your fiancé's trust first. He cries I want a girlfriend too, you dumbass, asking do you know how lucky you are. He sighs phew and says alright let's leave it at that, see you again tomorrow. Kanata wonders is this how streamers felt like in my previous life. The narrator explains as you've probably guessed streamer real name Kanata is a transfer student. The next day a teacher tells students not only that magic is all about using your imagination. Kanata thinks come to think of it I've been living in this world for a while ever since I was reincarnated here. He recalls I was so excited when I found out about the existence of magic, but now it's nothing special. He thinks after all, he realizes I've got unlimited power. At age 4 Kanata quickly realized that this power would affect his daily life. He got to enroll into the Royal Academy and obtained rank S, which is for only the richest nobles and most powerful commoners. However, he notices stares. Bullies tell him you're not welcome here, saying you don't belong to no family and beat it pleb. They whisper no matter how hard you try you can't change your social status, as nobles don't seem to like us commoners very much. Kanata thinks how would I know, deciding I'll just suck it up and be polite for now, saying I believe it'd be best to ask the teacher. The teacher scolds if you have time to talk you have time to perform. Someone says I'm very sorry for being late. Maria Adarashisu arrives panting. She bows saying thank you for your kindness, as the teacher assumes probably too busy helping around the house, right, adding no one is blaming you. The teacher asks Maria, what do you think, why don't you perform for us today? Bully steps up saying obtained rank S, did we I'll do it instead. The teacher says I've placed a fireproof seal on the surroundings, so go ahead and give it your all, as the bully asks I just have to aim fire magic at the target, right? He points his finger yelling fire. The teacher says yo today is Kanata's turn, go ahead, thinking I think we can allow one more person. Our boy stands there ready to cast the fire magic. He casts fire. A massive explosion erupts. Maria looks shocked as Kanata thinks shoot I overdid it. The teacher stammers now it's alright everyone, what a splendid display of power. We just witnessed students saying time for individual training. The bully thinks impossible, he's just a pleb. Maria shout what do you think you're two doing, because of the bullies saying he's obviously cheating. They gasp seeing Lady Maria. Maria states this has nothing to do with social status. She thinks there's a certain quality which made people like him pass the exam. She warns, so I'd suggest you stop letting your foolish pride get in the way. The bullies bow, stuttering, "Why, yes, your highness." She tells Kanata, "Hey you, that magic of yours was amazing, color me impressed," as he says thank you. Kanata thinks, "I believe she is part of the royal family, and also the youngest of the three princesses. Lady Maria was it." Maria says, "You must be wondering why conflicts keep arising around social status," adding, "Let's get this over quickly, everyone's staring at us." She adds, "Also you should hear what Mr. has to say about it." He asks, "Did you say something?" And she replies, "Nothing." She warns, "You shouldn't go around provoking people even if you're angry." Got it. Kanata mutters, "They were the ones who started it though." It is late at night. Kanata starts broadcasting saying, "Streamer here, did you run into any troubles at work or school?" Noting, "That reminds me, this used to be a work terminal that I got after enrolling here." He explains, "To upgrade it into something of a PC, I had to do a lot of tinkering." He thinks, however, the majority of people did not have access to technology or entertainment. Even this world had a network that linked terminals together until now. To create something similar to a streaming site, Kanata used his limitless power. He tells the chat, "Something awful happened today. Nobles and commoners seem to be getting into arguments again," noting these fights about status seem to never end. He observes everyone's quite divided on this one, thinking it'd be nice if we could all just get along. Suddenly he sees a colored message from anonymous princess reading, "Mr. Streamer, I'm so happy to be able to hear your voice again today." Kanata reads a message asking him to be so kind as to accept her offer. The message says, as usual, she is sending this letter with her gratitude from anonymous princess. She writes that she is so happy to be able to hear his voice again today. He notices the message contains a donation and asks, "What's this?" He sees that 10 gold coins have been transferred with a clink sound. He pauses, saying, "Wait," then thanks the princess. The chat comments that her parents' wallet must be empty for sure and calls it expected from a hardcore fan, asking if this isn't getting kinda creepy. Streamer asks if she is not stealing money from her parents, right? He asks if she is sure it's okay and says he can refund her. He thinks that in his previous life 10 coins would equate to 100,000 yen. He asks, didn't she also send him some yesterday? She replies, "By the way, no need to worry." She says all of this money comes from her own pocket. She continues that she wouldn't mind offering herself as a candidate to be his lover. The chat says, "No, please let me be." Kanata thinks no good, but then reasons it's not like he's meeting anyone in public, nor is there a risk of him exposing his face. He figures it's probably just a guy posing as a girl anyway. He thanks the princess, saying, "Well, if we ever find a chance to, why not?" He says onto the next letter. Maria thinks she just couldn't help herself. She says, she can't help falling for him, noting yet another side of him she loves. It sounds like a listening device. She breathes out heavily. She thinks he really is strange, having appeared out of nowhere like a comet, captivating people with his charisma and influence in the blink of an eye. She notes he helped save a lot of people either through his kind words or through his guidance. She admires his objective opinion and his boldness to take on any backlash that may come from it head first. She feels like his voice has entered her mind, as if every inch of her body's been marked by him. She makes kissing sounds. She says she wants to devote herself fully to him and give him financial support. She says she doesn't want to just. She declares she wants to live for him. As mentioned before in Adarashia, streamer Kanata has amassed a large group of followers. From here on out, more people with similarly terrifying feelings will continue to appear. Kanata is still completely unaware of the catalyst. Kanata decides, "I'll stick to the way back home with less people." He thinks ever since that incident, it's become more of a pain in the ass, as students whisper getting good grades, although he's just a commoner asking, wasn't it just a fluke anyway? A male student shouts, "I love you from the bottom of my heart, Maria." As Kanata thinks, for starters, I'm gonna clear up my mood with streaming. Kanata notices the princess and that guy from before as the boy asks, "Is it your fiancé?" as the third princess. But Maria replies, "I'm sorry, there's already someone whom my heart is destined for." The boy gasps, "What?" As Maria explains, "That's not it, I'm allowed to find my own love," adding, "However, there's already someone I want to give myself to." The boy runs away crying, telling him, "Don't worry about it, pretty boy." Kanata hopes he can be happy. Kanata thinks Maria would certainly be my type, describing her as an elegant beauty, and her breasts are big as. He sighs how lucky, wondering what good deed her partner did to get her. Maria says to him that listening in on others' conversation doing the absolute lowest, while Cana deciding, well, then let's take the long way back around. Maria calls out your shadow was visible, as Cana flinches saying this is my way back home so I'm sorry. Maria laughs, don't worry it's just a joke, as Cana tries to leave saying well then, thank you very much. Maria wonders maybe it was just my imagination thinking this accent just now from somewhere. Later Maria sits at her screen saying I've been waiting for you streamer. As streamer starts the broadcast shouting you everyone I kept you guys waiting for some time. Until a moment ago the said elegant beauty rolls around squealing I love you, saying my ears are so happy. Streamer says I'm happy for all the donations, but you've to think about yourselves first otherwise I'd start feeling guilty as Maria reacts what? So much money. Maria declares I've got to focus saying the one who's providing for streamer is me watch me showing the composure of being the best girl. Doesn't it saying that demons are a race that should be wiped out is common knowledge, but streamer asks is living together in peace, so bad noting the more you fight the more suffering comes from. The chat argues isn't it a taboo about demons, but streamer asks even among us humans, there should be a bunch of those who just want to get along without fighting adding. But aren't there good guys among them as well? He adds, and there are enough bad guys under those who talk about the savageness of demons as well. Streamer mentions slaves, like with slaves or discrimination which you hear so often about. Maria realizes you said something like that as well, didn't you, back then? In a flashback Sebas tells her young lady that place. As young Maria says, Sebas, stop here. Slaves beg don't you look at us, without knowing our pain asking what's a young well-dressed lady doing here asking are you my master? Sebas suggests let's change the place explaining it's a slave market as Maria asks is slavery not a thing of the past? Sebas explains even now there are apparently still nobles and ministers who partake in it behind closed doors, which makes it difficult to revise the law. Maria asks so what can we do as Sebas mentions, according to what I've heard it seems there's someone out there who can give advice to those who lose their way. Sebas suggests giving it a try by asking him might be an option saying I've heard the name but streamer. Maria asks is there really someone like that? As she writes to find a solution for this problem saying okay to the next letter. Chat comments to take their right to live freely is the absolute worst as Nameless Princess writes, I want to get rid of the slave market asking the Atremer. And he says you know that slaves are still living people. Streamer reads from the Nameless Princess saying it'll be troublesome to deal with those old regulations, but why don't you just try it? While saying she can't be the real princess. Maria decides we're heading to the king. My father commanding Sebas get the carriage ready. The narrator states slavery was eradicated, and through thorough enforcement to prevent its recurrence, there were no more suffering slaves after that noting, and Maria brought the country into the movement. Maria vows I'll keep believing in you who showed me the way, and follow you therefore. She decides I'll act as a mediator between commoners and nobles here at the academy believing discrimination is a detriment to peace. The chat fights saying I'm the best for going out with streamer saying I won't allow it, I'm the one who deserves to be with streamer. Maria snaps that said, what are you talking about trash? Nameless Princess M starts spamming donating typing of course. I'm the most suitable person for streamer. Streamer says wait, I'm not a fan of nuisance listeners. Okay saying I dislike people who quarrel in a place where everyone is watching. Maria realizes by the way, he hates me, streamer hates it, and starts crying. She types, although I may still be immature I'll do my best saying I understand. I will forgive you if you understand let's get along well. Streamer says is also important but getting along with demons. He asks you just want to see it don't you does anyone know wondering now, I wonder what the Demon King looks like. Maria touches the screen in panic as the king also panics. The viewer shouts streamer please don't talk about that topic. Streamer wonders if I'll be able to see a world in which humans and demons live peacefully together. Someone saying I knew it, you really are interesting streamer I'm looking forward to it. As Cana remains unaware that he had touched a taboo of this world. Sometime before Cana's controversial statements, as lightning strikes a dark castle, the demon Lord Shruza looks down on defeated humans saying you bore me, deciding that killing you isn't worth the effort and commands return only when you're stronger fools. The humans retreat into a warp portal stammering a warp portal, realizing you humans would call this more powerful than SSS class correct. admitting there's no way you could hope to fight against it. Shruza wonders, is this truly the right choice for us, asking herself, why must we fight for centuries on end? Subordinates praise her, saying she's as strong and beautiful as always, Lady Shruza. She walks away thinking, still, what point is there to question what has been common sense until now? A subordinate runs up calling Lady Shruza, reporting the adventurers earlier dropped something interesting. Shruza inspects a smartphone, wondering who in the world. Streamer. The subordinate explains, using that as what is said to listen to him is popular. She notes, but where we are right now doesn't have a signal apparently, but Shruza decides, I see. It might be useful for info gathering. Shruza orders, go make something that'll get us this signal you speak of. And the subordinate bows, saying, as you wish. Later at her desk, Shruza asks, how is it? The device connects as the subordinate shouts, all right, I'll go tell everyone, while Shruza thinks, well, it'd at least help kill time. A few days later, Streamer asks what you all eat today, and Shruza types, personally ate some egg toast myself. I had meat. It was a bit much for breakfast. She covers her face, blushing, thinking, why'd I do that? And saying it's not like he'd respond. Looks like his calming streams had become her daily routine. Though once she noticed, she claimed, I'm just killing time while eating. She analyzes him, thinking, how interesting, in other words, a human with more mana than me, noting magic power large enough to spread one's voice in all directions, asking still, just what are you? She sips tea, thinking, you really are interesting, Streamer. You know. Streamer asks, why do humans and demons even fight each other, noting the only thing that'll increase is death counts, so isn't war meaningless? Shruza drops her cup in shock, thinking, Streamer, you're of the same opinion. Streamer adds, more importantly, that's just my opinion though, suggesting if only we didn't focus on fights and have our leaders start peace talks with each other. Shruza laughs, this fool. As narration notes, from then, Shruza had begun seeing him as a comrade. Back in the present day, Shruza donates, saying, this much is fine, I'll be your personal wallet, as Streamer reacts, this much, saying, I'm happy you support me, but prioritize yourself, all right. Shruza makes a twisted smile, thinking, moments like these are when I'm the happiest. Similar to a certain other princess, she'd completed her transformation into a Yandere. She listens to him talk about stuff like slavery and discrimination when suddenly, ding, the nameless princess chain donated again. A subordinate rushes in, asking Lady Shruza, is something wrong, but she snaps, absolutely. Yelling, getting along with demons is important, but you know this little annoying. She refers to the nameless princess. Streamer asks, don't you want to find out, saying, I wonder what the demon lord looks like. Asking, you want to see me? Shruza panics and writes something, then types, apparently Streamer thinks, mimicking the demon lord now. That's great, great demon lord, I'd love to meet up. She thinking, you really are interesting, Streamer, I'll try thinking positively too. Our boy steps on the landmine without knowing she is the real deal. Shruza stands up, saying, more importantly, I have an urgent matter to look into, help me out. As the subordinate says, right away, and Shruza whispers, Streamer. Naked in the steam, Shruza thinks, oh Streamer, faceless child of humanity, I want you. She thinks, I am the demon lord, an existence that rules over many. She pauses, thinking, however, she decides, I'd be fine letting you rule over my body. If it's you, then. A subordinate enters, saying, pardon me, it's time for your departure, my lady. But Shruza sinks into the water, thinking concretely, maybe something like. The subordinate asks, did you get dizzy? Shruza says, today's water is a bit hot, you see. But subordinate says it's the same as usual. Shruza wonders, what must I do to see your face? What must I do to grant such a wish, thinking, Streamer, I wish to meet you. She hugs herself, thinking, I want to touch you with my hands, to hold you within my arms. She reaches out towards the human realm. She thinks, is that where you reside? I'll offer you everything I have as a demon lord. She jumps from the castle, thinking, grant me everything I wish. So would you. She flies off, saying, first things first, now then. Cana wakes up stretching. Students outside shout, look at the news, the news. As Cana thinks it's a bit noisy today. The news reports it's a ceasefire. The demons sent a non-aggression request, as people wonder, was the demon lord listening? And hey, didn't Streamer just talk about this? Just how big of a man is he? Cana looks out the window, wondering, I wonder if we'll have a festival. As narration states, in places Canata's unaware of, he gains even more fame than before. Cana wipes sweat from his forehead with a wrench in hand, saying it's finally done, and deciding, all right, I'm starving, so I'll eat outside and I'll tell everyone about it later. He walks through the bustling town. Kanata thinks spending days off outside like this isn't so bad sometimes. While eating, he thinks, man, this tastes great, I love it, noting it's a bit weirdly shaped. Though when suddenly a thug yells, oi lady, what's the big idea spilling sauce on people's clothes like that? The thug demands, look what you did. Watch where you're going, damn it. Insisting you've gotta make it up to me somehow as the lady stammers, I'm so sorry. Kanata chews his food thinking, shit, it's a scammer. You were the one who bumped into her. He sighs thinking, does this world want me to do something, noting now that's stooping low. And there aren't any soldiers around either. Kanata calls out, hey, old man, thinking not doing anything be worse. The thug snaps, what, did she run fast enough to break your bones or something? Asking all she did was bump into you, and you're acting like that. Kanata notes this atmosphere's a bit embarrassing. As the thug approaches asking, what do you want, you little shit? The thug grabs at him, but Kanata dodges saying, either way, mind letting go of her, you fossil. Kanata grips the thug's arm tightly, causing the thug to think his arms are like sticks, and he did that before running away shouting, I forgot I was supposed to go to work. Don't wanna be late. The girl tries to speak saying, but Kanata asks what's wrong, complaining he could at least apologize. Right, miss. The girl looks at him thinking your voice sounded familiar. He wonders maybe she's a listener, thinking if she found out, then maybe I'd get to start a romance with a cute girl like her. Before deciding, so I guess that can't be it, but it seems like it's just a misunderstanding. Kanata tells her more importantly, go home before this happens again, okay. And she replies, it's all right. Apparently she worries I might have gravely injured him, so I could have chased him away, Kanata whispers, realizing, you're one of those secretly strong types. But as the girl asks one of those, Kanata says now then as the girl says, I appreciate your kindness. Thank you very much, stranger whose name I do not know. Kanata smiles saying no need for that. Helping out a pretty girl like you lifts my mood a bit anyway, while she says I think there are many people prettier than me though. Kanata scratches his head thinking, other worlds are scary as the girl thinks no. If that's the case then the bar's way too high. The girl asks what happened to your hand, and Kanata looks at his bandage saying this. He explains it's the one I got while cleaning up yesterday, adding it's a bit bruised, but it'll probably be fine by tomorrow. She says please be careful, Sir. Kanata pats her head saying you're a nice person, miss, unlike those guys from the academy. Kanata pulls back realizing my bad, did that count as essay? As she says it's fine though. She thinks I thought we were the same age. I turned 17 this year, I'm a bit short though. Kanata realizes, am I wrong? She asks could it be that you thought I was younger than you? Saying we're the same age then. She poses confidently saying my body's grown up just fine, see. Please don't worry, I'm used to it at this point, while Kanata looks away saying and besides. Kanata thinks what a personality I see, as she giggles, as she says I can do things like that just fine tilde. Kanata waves saying right, see you, be mindful of your surroundings, got it. And she bows saying farewell then, good sir, let's meet again when a chance shows itself. Kanata walks away thinking doesn't really matter, I guess, wondering she had a cross. Was she a sister in training or something? The girl returns and a subordinate says welcome back as she replies I've returned. Is what I would like to say, but the subordinate says I heard that you got wrapped up in a scammer's fraud attempt. My lady, stating it was a depressing piece of news, had the number of people who know about your identity as the saintess been larger, then this wouldn't have happened. She continues, and you sometimes are the key to negotiations with other countries. Even though your presence is irreplaceable for the kingdom, as the saintess thinks, how painful this is. The subordinate says, saintess, how merciful of you, as the saintess declares all humans are equal, remember to despise the sin, not the person, sister. The saintess says there was a good encounter on top of the bad one, he was a kind gentleman. She sits down thinking to the point I kept going back and forth between believing and not, and I feel like their voices really were alike, saying now then, there. She checks her device saying there's no one around. She cheers Streamer's divine voice is here. As Streamer says sorry to keep you waiting, it's time to spend the night reading your guy's letters. In simplest terms, she likes his voice. There are a few reasons for her slight insanity. It really is a wonderful voice. That's right, even this girl that's called a saintess is also a Yandere listener. She listens intensely thinking, do you have such a lovely voice, my dear Streamer? Why, while narration notes the saintess is always so calm. She's amazing. She touches herself saying every day, I purify my body, you know. She makes a face saying just so I'm ready to offer everything to you at a moment's notice. While the girl contrasts a person that was always calm. She writhes saying good, so much. Your voice makes my lower abdomen almost scream. I'll get pregnant just from hearing his voice tilde. Streamer says, but one thing before I start reading tilde, and her device buzzes causing her to jump asking what is it. Streamer shows his hands on screen saying tada tilde I can show off my hands now. You guys watching. The saintess recognizes the bandage screaming is it him, as narration states he'd unknowingly doxed himself. And she panics thinking, it can't be, there's no way, no way, no way, no way. Looks like Cana not exoposed his hand but him. Cana shows off a magic item saying I finished it earlier this morning. Explaining it's for showing my hands, a camera, asking can you guys see them. He checks the feed saying the bruise still hasn't healed so I have to keep the bandage on. Noting this is pretty good as he checks it on his side. He laughs ahaha thinking there's no way people'd find out with just my hands. Adding nah, maybe I should have worn gloves to keep my identity from being found out. A viewer shakes in shock thinking that, it can't be those hands. Oh, she screams his hands. The chat goes wild asking what happened to them. It's Streamer's hands and what's stuck to it. Streamer explains I was a klutz earlier this morning you see, warning everyone be careful about things on the top of bookshelves okay? As chat says get well soon. He notes I'm planning on using this when I wanna introduce something. Observing it really riled you guys up huh? Just seeing my hands. It is night time as he says anyway, let's start reading your letters. 2 hours later, he says it's more fun today since you're all so energetic. When a ping sounds as he says now then next is. He reads it muttering the hell, realizing this isn't a normal letter it's a threat. The letter reads yo streamer, I'm the Thief Guild's leader Mantis, saying little shits like you make my skin crawl. It continues I've got no clue what your streams are, but it's annoying and pisses me off, threatening we will find you and kill you painfully. Cana thinks this is probably envy or possibly, they just hate my very existence. He thinks it's not like I don't understand hating that. But well, I do get money from just streaming and hiding my identity sometimes in large amounts. Warning you could get thrown into jail for stuff like that. Saying you shouldn't threaten people like that, you know, he replies with middle finger now then next letter. The narrator notes both things this thief didn't know the answer to were what would happen if you threatened to kill streamer, and how much power his faithful listeners even have. Hours later, the thieves' hideout is shown decimated with bodies lying everywhere. Mantis runs away in the desert panting ha ha. He curses shit, come all the way here wondering did those assholes. He yells the hell do you think you are streamer? Claiming this is all that bastard's fault making me run away with my tail between my legs like this. A foot steps down firmly. Mantis looks up gasping. A voice says to think that you wouldn't notice something as weak as that. Noting mantises aren't a big deal at all, are they? A priestess stands there saying don't make this even more of a pain while a knight says honestly, can you not cause me so much trouble? The knight says I would not have come here in the first place if I knew the humans'd get here first. As Mantis stammers WH, who the hell are you people? The knight declares judgment pass on, you understand right, that's all, saying believers of streamer now die adding by now. He swings his sword saying we'll be passing an emergency judgment on you now. Asking by the gods, there really are hopeless fools like you in this world. You dare to even think of killing him. The narrator states while less than their superiors, they're still plenty insane, while they too were believers. Narrator concludes this had served as a typical example of how scary the online is. Noting viewing it from Mantis' standpoint, this was both self-earned and, sadly, unfortunate. A few days later, Cana reads the news saying the Royal Knights really are something. Noting it says they hunted down Mantis the thief. Cana walks thinking Mantis, where have I heard that? As a student drops a handkerchief. Cana picks it up saying hey, you dropped your handkerchief. But the student walks away as Cana thinks recently even other peasant students have been ignoring me. So sad. Students talk saying I heard the teachers had a really important meeting, isn't it a bit loud today? As Cana thinks I really don't like this lonesome student life. Maybe I overdid it that one time. The teacher enters saying everyone to your seats please, announcing while this is a bit sudden, a certain person will be joining this class temporarily. A girl walks in footsteps echoing as the teacher says however. He explains considering her own future. She's decided to show herself here. Noting she's never shown her face publicly before but she is someone of utmost importance to the capital. He warns please don't try to do anything rude, saying now then you may enter. The girl bows saying while I may be young, I currently occupy the position of saintess. Good morning, my name is Alphina. Or so is how the rumors are probably spreading as students shout, oi, let's go see her, asking, is it true that the saintess transferred into the S class? Students shout saintess, look here, calling her so pretty. While Alphina thinks, well, Kanata says I kinda knew this'd happen, as a student says I've always wanted to meet you, and another notes, so this is what the saintess looks like. Alphina thinks it's something like societal observation. Let's see, as a student asks, so why did you transfer to this academy, saintess? Alphina thinks I see, I have another goal in mind, or so I'd like to say. Recalling I've read about them before, so I've gotta know more about this world, specifically the saintess. Kanata explains she's friends with Princess Maria, probably. In other words, one of the most important people, a person with mana and a personality befitting of a saintess, is selected once every few decades. Adding, we got here by horse carriage, and on top of that she gets along with the royal family. And while having authorization to utilize the entire church, she also shines in diplomacy. Kanata thinks actually wouldn't she be a better fit for SSS class, though mana-wise? Thinking to think that the girl I ran into was a transfer student. Kanata runs off saying my apologies, thinking well she probably doesn't remember my face, though since I was just a random civilian after all. Sighing, thank God she forgave me for how I treated her when we met. A boy introduces himself saying the Launder house is next in line, Zickert, at your service. Stating I am of the SSS class, as Alphina stammers, and nice to meet you. Zickert asks, did you know that Princess Maria was absent today due to official matters? Noting Maria's in the SSS class. And says then, if fine with you, I'll guide you around the school in her place, Lady Alphina, to which she replies, I see. Alphina says, while I am thankful, I refuse. Adding, additionally, could you not call me by my name without permission? Peasants laughing at a noble making a fool of himself say that's what you get for always acting so cocky, calling him pathetic, as Zickert screams my apologies. Kanata thinks I'll look for stuff to talk about on stream, while moving, deciding I don't have time to laugh, as he notes the next class is outside. Alphina casts water slash. Students murmur, why is she in S class, and one thinks I have to make sure she likes me. While others say incredible, she might be on a higher level than Princess Maria, and as expected of the saintess. Kanata observes nobles sure have it tough, not just being able to focus on themselves, thinking about people pleasing and making connections for the sake of your family. The teacher says gotcha. Next is Kanata, please go to the starting point. Alphina whispers, please do your best, good sir. Kanata reacts with a shocked. Kanata clenches his fist, thinking, and she told me to do my best, wondering she noticed, while Alphina giggles. Kanata thinks though being very motivated is a good thing, deciding since such a cute girl told me that I have to show off. Kanata casts water slash, thinking won't overdo it unlike last time. The teacher smiles, saying nice shot. Noble scoff, aha, same old, saying he's just a filthy peasant, the hell does he think he is, and that guy's as annoying as always. Alphina asks who mouthed the words filthy peasant. As Kanata thinks not bothered, I'll just ignore them. Alphina thinks, but to think that nobles insulting peasants actually existed in this academy. Noting I had thought it was a joke when I heard from Maria. Alphina thinks it was refined, controlled, unlike my brute strength. The magic displayed just now was wonderful. She thinks an untrained eye might interpret it as a horrifying apparition. Noting such incredible magic and wondering the hell is that. A noble curses shit the hell. As Alphina lectures, ignoring one's own weakness and insulting one blessed with talent is unforgivable no matter who you are. As the noble cries I'm sorry, and she adds nobility does not make you special. Alphina glares down at him, saying learn some shame. Kanata stretches, saying what should I talk about tonight, tilde, deciding either way I've got my listeners so I'm all good. Kanata mutters we're going until morning again, saying let's start right away, sup all of you, sorry I made you guys wait. Alphina appears Kanata, saying saintess. As Kanata reacts, she says I see you had a prior guest. Alphina walks, saying though that led me here. I was going to explore the school grounds a bit, spotting someone. Kanata says saintess. Alphina bows, saying we meet again, good sir. Kanata points, saying right, you are the girl I met in town. Kanata thinks being alone with her here is nothing but bad news, thinking if someone saw us I'd get killed. Alphina demands please speak to me casually like when we first met, thinking I won't forgive you if you don't. And you don't have to be so cautious of me. Kanata stammers, all right. She smiles, saying thank you, I'll talk normally then. Kanata thinks thank God there's no one. Alphina holds his hands. Alphina says and please call me Alphina. If it's all right with you, would you let me call you Kanata? She adds, I wish for you to call me by my name. Kanata asks, you didn't like it when you were called that earlier. Recalling the one who said her name, asking, is that okay? She smiles, saying, we were lucky enough to meet again, so could you grant this wish of mine? If you insist, then, Kanata says Alphina. She shudders, saying Kanata, as Kanata thinks she's got a nice personality and physique, but she really is adorable. It's a bit weird that she's acting like that. She floats happily, thinking the fact he called me by my name, as Kanata wonders, isn't she a bit too perfect? She thinks that means he's basically agreed to marry me. Those obsessed with something inflate even small things about it, similar to how love is said to be blind, because not to notice is normal for Kanata, as he calls he. Alphina, asking she's asleep. It was impossible to know that Alphina harbors unimaginable desires within her. She wakes up saying, my apologies, I got a bit sleepy. You're up. Well, the next day, students say as expected of her, I guess, greeting saintess. Morning, Kanata thinks, oh, Alphina's early, wondering where should I sit today. As Kanata says, I'll be intruding, students react saying, you're kidding, what? Alphina calls out Maria saying, it's been a while, can you come over here for a bit? Maria runs over saying, Alphina, you're just full of surprises, aren't you? As Alphina says, my apologies. Students wonder, why is Maria here? Isn't she supposed to be in the SSS class? Boys watch saying, unparalleled beauties, this scenery is too bright for me. A pair of idols. Maria says, it's nothing, and Alphina replies, and I just had to know what student life was like. Boys say, I want them to sandwich me. Yeah, I really want to talk to them too. It's hard to get close to them. I've been blessed. They're divine. Alphina whispers come off as disinterested in everything around them though. Kanata observes they really are used to being the center of attention, huh? Well, they also, I guess this is just normal for them. Kanata thinks, but it kind of feels like their expressions are fake. Noting a fake smile, smug, thinking they'd both react if you went and talked to them. Kanata thinking Kanata filter on the smile Alphina showed me yesterday, and Princess Maria's warning too, were they all my imagination? Recalling don't cause any problems. Do they not know basic manners? Turning Kanata filter off. Kanata watches them thinking they're having so much fun, hearing Maria say maybe I should take a class or two here. And Alphina reply, I don't think that'll work, Maria. Kanata thinks, but man, I'm jealous she got angry for me anyway, recalling know your place, deciding, nah, I'm thinking too much. Kanata stands up thinking even I can make a friend or two, it makes me feel so lonely thinking I want to be like them. He says, all right, yo, asking what you have for dinner. But the student shouts fuck off. The student thinks getting carried away just cause he's good at magic. The hell's up with him? Kanata sits in defeat thinking just how much do they hate me. Kanata thinks I'll just ask my listeners to console me or something. Maria asks Maria, it's nothing, is something wrong? Kanata says I'll just take a nap then. At the same time, in the Xandered Empire, a certain noble's mansion. A masked figure says I accept, text reads an anti appears, a voice says I've a mission for you. Crow. Kanata wakes up blinking and whispering Crow. Girls gossip saying seems like he showed up in Mithras the other day, noting hard to believe someone like that really exists, huh? One asks it's about Crow, right? I heard about it too. As Kanata wakes up shouting really. Kanata sits up thinking thank God I was born in a clean family. As a girl worries what if we end up being targets too, noting that's only 100 km from here if I remember correctly. Kanata thinks why yeah, I guess so. As the girls decide so they probably won't come for us, reasoning it's not like we've done anything to deserve that though. He explains crows don't refer to birds, but to assassins in this world. Kanata reads comments like I heard that he was an amazing guy and seems like he'd kill anyone as long as you pay up, thinking they all thought it was just an urban legend of sorts. But to think he's actually real, noting even info from my listeners isn't all that good for this one as he reads there are some contradictory ones. Is he actually real? Kanata laughs, deciding well, it's got nothing to do with me, thinking time to sleep until the next lesson as he drifts off. In the Xandered Empire at a certain noble's mansion, Crow demands tell me the target, stating my time is valuable. Snaps enough pretense, saying unlike you, a living legend like you would be in the Xandered Empire, adding no one would think that. The noble stammers what you just, yelling you little. Crow appears instantly in front of him as the noble stammers I got it. Okay, Crow warns I won't say it again as the noble wonders when did you. The noble yells the target's name is Streamer, explaining he controls peasants with his words and even affects entire countries' laws. He continues and it's even heard by royalty he talks of human rights in his streams. complaining thanks to him, my slavery business has been losing money. Crow says I'm a bit unsatisfied but alright. Cutting him off saying enough, I understand. The noble shows coins saying this is the preliminary payment, I'm counting on you. He asks are you planning on taking it all after the job? Crow replies, unnecessary, stating it should take nobles a while to find him, adding as long as he's a coward that hides his identity, there is no deadline. Crow suddenly says no, your request is one I can no longer take, leaving the noble confused asking huh? But Crow slashes as the noble gasps why. The noble's head flies off. Crow sheathes the blade stating the client has died, declaring as such, I can no longer accept this job. As coins spill, Crow adds and so I cannot accept this money, that is all. A maid knocks asking master, entering to find the body screaming someone help. Crow stands on the roof thinking a sound came from here. Crow runs across the rooftops under the moon. Crow takes off the mask saying it's such a pain, noting this outfit's for work but complaining I'm beat. Crow, revealed as a girl, thinks still, requests the murder of Lord Streamer. She sits down thinking trash really does exist in this world, doesn't it? Her phone beeps as she cheers Lord Streamer, thinking it's starting. As Streamer says yo, everyone did you wait? Peoples hears a noise asking what kind of bird made that sound. Yes, even the legendary assassin was a Yandere listener. Crow listens thinking such a wonderful voice, it's so refreshing, thinking ever since I met you, the nights have been so wonderful tilde hearing him say a lot happened today. She says I didn't hear him, what a waste. She blushes thinking focus. Telling herself get it together, thinking I want him to scold me for being a useless assassin that doesn't work at night. Cana says tried to make some friends but shutting his eyes crying as soon as I talked, they all told me to shut up. Asking console me a little bit. Crow cries saying how awful, noticing his voice is so shaky, thinking just a little is fine so. Crow types crying if I was the one he talked to. Then I would never even think of hurting him look who's talking she literally just killed a noble earlier. She thinks who do they think they are? They should be thanking you for even letting them hear your voice. Noting I usually get told that by would-be hero parties as soon as they get here, concluding I get that. Cannot laugh saying just kidding, I didn't know. I'll do a better job next time adding, everything else was true though. He reveals I used a glass of water to make the crying sounds. Asking how was my acting there. Cana says I kinda feel bad now. Thanks for worrying everyone, comments roll in saying really I got tricked. Is it really true though I cried, you're pretty good at acting, I saw it coming, please let me take care of you in the meantime. No, leave that to my family's doctor please. Crow starts typing how do you wish to then reacts, Cana says that's fast. Cana reads a punishment of sorts, reading how do you wish to take care of those fools. He thinks, deciding instead of doing the same to them or something I wanna try interacting with them more proactively. Crow thinks he read my message. Crow thinks how graceful. Cana adding but even if we still don't become friends, they might become willing to just hold a conversation with me Cana says I will. And if that happens, I hope you'll all console me. Crow types but if they ever treat you any worse than that, please tell us. As Cana notices, what's this? Crow stands up in her gear thinking for your sake, then if it's is that all you wish for I'll. Crow stands over a pile of skulls thinking whoever they may be, and anyone. Cana wipes tears saying that's a lot of comments, thinking all my listeners are such nice people. Without knowing they are not nice fans but Yandere fans. The scene at the royal capital at a certain brothel. Cana exits a room saying see ya, thanks for visiting sir as the door clicks shut. She greets a man saying hey there boss, thank you. He replies good work out there, I went and changed the seats for you, noting and it seems like all the customers today were pretty satisfied weren't they? Calling her as expected of our top seller. Cana winks saying seeing as I was the one serving them, of course they were. I'm your facilities ace after all. Cana asking could you leave me alone for a bit booze? Her boss says if I didn't have work myself, I'd love to hear his voice too. Cana says better luck next time. Her boss whispers her with a voluptuous body and snow-white skin, deep red hair and blue eyes, noting she only grows more appealing with age. She says get out. Cana sighs, thinking this is all today was a pretty satisfying one. Checking her device thinking thanks to you, Streamer, my lord, it's almost time. Streamer asks did I make you wait? Yo guys, Cana kicks her legs excitedly shouting you did, my lord. Streamer says a lot happened today asking did he run into trouble. Streamer's voice had reached places that even Cana wasn't aware of. A princess, a demon king, a saintess, an assassin, and now, a humble prostitute. Cana thinks I would offer you my whole body in a heartbeat if only you were by my side, my lord. You saved all those like me, my lord, thinking after all, you're our savior. Narration explains she'd turned to nightlife business, however, in order to live she reached her current position. It notes Cana was born in the slums, completely unconnected to her current life. In a flashback, girls drink saying we're still young, but once we get old we'll lose customers. One asks if that happens. Won't we go back to the slums? Cana thinks I don't even want to think of that. A man shouts, and just when we found a nice person to work for too. You're kidding, that sucks, man. Another shouts, don't you even dare question me. You only need to work. Calling them, listen here, you filthy pieces of trash. Narration notes these women's worries didn't just end in the near future. Men gossip saying if I married that sort of thing, then my family name would die out before I do, saying I immediately broke up with her. Another says who would have known that she was a harlot. Thank God you noticed before you got engaged. A woman sneers, let's go home, shall we? Narration explains prostitutes' social standings were always low. They're treated as nothing more than rotten food. Back in the present, the boss says it's just about to start. Cana says, well, let's try to forget about that, shall we? Let's change our mood by tuning into Streamer's antics again, saying, ah, welcome back. Streamer reads a comment saying that's why girls don't like you, Streamer. He snaps, shut it, asking how'd you even know that? Streamer laughs saying next letter is tilde, here it is. The letter reads, I'm a bit of a clean freak, but I saw something yesterday that really shook me. The girls laugh saying he really is funny, isn't he? The letter continues, it was a filthy harlot. The likes of which men use as a plaything, they're basically trash. So I really wish they didn't go around dirtying the city. The girls look down, the letter asks, what do you think, Streamer? Cana thinking we're just trying to get out of hell. No matter how hard we try, people keep thinking that. Her boss says yeah, tilde advising try not to mind that, everyone. Streamer shouts, who do you think you are, saying stuff like that? Asking the hell are you talking about? Streamer argues, but I think more than half of them have to do that just to live. He says there are people who turn to that job of their own will. I think they're pretty brave, and it's a fine job. No, asking what, is it a crime to sell your body? Why would you judge someone based on their profession? Streamer declares, and that's why I want them to be compensated and viewed fairly. Comments agree saying that's true. You're pretty smart and thinking about it, yeah. Streamer adds, I mean, any job can save someone and a lot of people are being saved. Asking can we stop insulting people just cause of their jobs? Cana cries thinking no one's told us anything like that before. That they've come this far. That they've lived until now. Streamer shouts, I want a world where working people don't get mocked and can just be proud. Narration states society's perception of prostitutes has changed. As a result, the people's treatment toward us is second to none. Cana thinks I don't know about other countries, but at least here. Narration continues, it also resulted in the reflection of most civilians. That stream reached ears across the kingdom and resulted in tears of happiness from all those like me. Saying thank you, Streamer. Cana says let me thank you some other way one day, okay. Cana sighs saying I tried making some friends by talking to people today. The moment I opened my mouth, they told me to shut up. He asks, it is pathetic, isn't it? Streamer asks, can you guys console me a bit? Cana crushes her phone thinking who would even dare insult my lord like that? As someone enters saying sorry for intruding, it's about tomorrow, the boss gasps, a demon. The matter of who exactly saddened Streamer was a never-ending topic. People shout exile him, I won't forgive him, and who does he think he is? Narration concludes all those who worshipped him had the exact same anger. Text reads 1 week later. Cana walks through town thinking I wonder if they're still selling that bread. I'm starving. Cana spots someone thinking, Princess Maria. Maria whispers, is it alright for you to go out alone like this? Saying it's fine, she asks your name was Cana, right? Saying hello there, what a coincidence. Cana says oh well see you then, but Maria grabs him saying wait right there. Cana thinks I don't think that counts as fine, though my butler's probably panicking right now. A butler shouts young lady, where have you gone? Maria drags him saying you're free right? Cana stammers yeah why, let's go on a walk together. Cana thinks if someone sees me with her I think my school life would end. Saying I wanna go but. Maria asks him, do you hear something coming from over there? Cana wonders now how do I? A girl shouts just let me go, I don't care. The man says can you stop? You can't go acting like that around a noble, can you? Come on now, I'm a noble from Xandered, you know. Cana and Maria shout hold it right there mister, and let go of her. Cana thinks we just can't catch a break, can we? saying indeed. He sighs as if saving people were an everyday occurrence. The noble shouts, who the hell do you think you are? Screaming, don't get in my way, damn it. The noble says, hold on, reaching out saying you're fairly pretty yourself, aren't you, to Maria. She slaps him down. Cana steps in saying now let's calm down. The noble reacts you, shouting I'll kill you, you bitch. The noble is struck. The noble stammers, wait, what? I can't move. Thinking arg, what's with this magic? Maria thinks gotcha, keep it at that pace. Impressive as always, Cana. Cana sighs saying it'll stop after a few minutes, so calm down. The noble yells, you little. He threatens, if you're a commoner then you know what's gonna happen, right? Asking, do you know what you just did? Saying nope, don't care either, it was self-defense. Cana wonders, and was that person earlier the princess? Thinking who are you? Whoa, looking at her again, she's a beauty. This world is insane. Asking, miss, are you okay? Did he do anything to you? Thinking if she's this pretty then this world's men can't be left alone. Cana says I'm fine, he just chased me down to try and purchase me. Cana asks, to purchase you? Huh. Look who's pathetic enough to be fixated on that. The noble laughs, asking, what do you think you're talking about, man? He sneers and shouting, that woman's a filthy prostitute. A kid like you won't understand, but I'll tell you. He continues, but she had the gall to say no. Damn it. I told her I'd take her in cause I like her. Cana asks, were you discriminating against her for her job? What, is it a crime to sell your body? Shouting, who do you think you are, saying stuff like that, pressing the noble's face down as he groans. Cana says, I think chasing a woman down into an alley is more criminal, Cana reacts, thinking those words. The way he talks. People gather asking, hey, what was that rumbling earlier? Pointing, I think it's from over here. One shouts, I got him, noticing civilly ands, there are people there. The noble asks, were the royal knights here? Saying, you really are an idiot, aren't you? The knight announces it's Maria Ataraxis, the third princess. The noble gasps, you're kidding me. The knight states the person in front of you is far above plain nobility. It's a perverted noble who's about to be arrested, saying you. Maria smiles, saying, it's my pleasure. That I was able to make arrangements for an arrest, thank you. She adds, it's thanks to you for keeping him down. Cana says, I see, so forcing them home is the best we can do. Maria notes it was just an attempt this time. Cana says, excuse me. Cana thinks that's one thing done finally, and it looks like patrols are gonna be stricter too. The knight says, Princess Maria, we'd like to ask for advice regarding patrols from now on. She says, let's go. Cana says, thanks for helping me earlier, and for affirming me and my job too. She asks, what's your name? Flashing back to streamer asking, can you guys see? Toddler, I can show my hands now. Cana stammers, it's nothing at all, ma'am. I've spent time with a lot of men in my life, so I'm fairly confident with how observant I am. Cana says, it's Cana. She repeats it and says, I see, giggling. He says, pardon. It's Cana. She hands him a card saying, when we meet next time I want you to call me that. She explains, if you show that to the reception desk at the brothel I work at, they'll let you see me immediately. Cana reads, and if that's my name, Cana walks away saying, wah. Well then I have work to do, so. See you again, Cana. She whispers, you're tired or want to let out stress, I'll help you out free of charge. Cana stands there blushing furiously. Cana reacts to Princess Maria, asking, aren't you a bit close? Maria thinking, she's sharp, isn't she? Maria says, let's both take care when we walk home, see you tomorrow. Cana says, well then, noting, the sun's going down, I guess we have to go back home. Maria agrees, yeah, I guess so. Cana adds, if someone from the school sees us, please cover for me then. Maria asks, why didn't you invite me to go home together? It's on the same path. Cana reacts, what? Maria thinks maybe I'm just overthinking that they're similar. If it was Lord Streamer then he would no doubt escort me. Deciding if it was just the princess then it's fine. In jail the noble curses, shit, why is this happening? The guard says, cool your head here for now, we'll send you home tomorrow. The noble thinks Lady Maria humiliated me. But that commoner brat is different. Streamer asks, what do you think about the power your words have, Streamer? Adding, do I really have that sort of thing? I'm really just telling you all what I'm thinking. He asks what you guys do if I said I wanted to take over the world. Adding, but hypothetically, if I did have that power. Chat floods with, I'll give you rule over the countries I've conquered. I will take care of anyone as long as you wish it, help you of course, what else? And by my hands, I'll reset the world to 0 to have you as its ruler. Concluding, I'll use everything in my power and offer this world to you, my lord. Streamer laughs, hahaha, saying, you're all fired up, aren't you? Adding, it's a joke though, so don't take it seriously, alright. Thinking, come to think of it, streamers in my old world cause some huge flame wars just with a joke. I should take care about what I say. Messages read, first time messaging. You're pretty funny, streamer. And please do your best, I will assist as best I can. As streamer reads well, just look forward to some of my reports about it from now on. I'm thinking of doing things other than just plain talking like this. Streamer says I can only show my hands right now. But if I make the camera a handheld, I can do some IRL streams, live like the streamers in my world did. I want to do the same things, reading aimless travels with streamer. Nameless princess sends a ring saying I love you. My lord, as streamer laughs ahahaha and says I love you too, princess. She explodes as streamer adds all of you guys too, of course. The next day, Cana groans, thinking that was actually pretty bad. I shouldn't do stuff like that, feeling like I heard a bird screaming somewhere. Students whisper, hey, is that rumor true? The one about SS class Aguila Trace being streamer. As Cana thinks, why am I so sleepy in the morning? Girls argue, didn't he say he was gonna reveal a secret of his? And streamer said he was a commoner, noting Aguila's a noble student drunk on power and he's definitely lying. Cana thinks I'll tell everyone it's a lie in a stream later, realizing there are a lot of fakes that pop up when you're famous. Thinking, and I'm streamer by the way. Noting it's infuriating not actually being able to say it. Wondering there are listeners in my class too. Cana thinks, wait, hold on, if I say something only a student should know, wouldn't they be suspicious of me? Deciding maybe I should just say someone told me about it. As chat comments, how fishy and why do you know that? After school, Cana thinks, why won't anyone believe me? I need to find out why he's pretending to be me. Thinking I really don't want to deal with them looking down on me, but I'm a bit curious about this impersonator. Cana sees them, thinking saintess. Is something wrong? Saying it's nothing as he enters, thinking I really am streamer. Cana thinks the problem's solved itself already. Seeing them confronting Aguila as Aguila shouts, why won't you believe me? Aguila says, but it's true. Claiming at this rate, I don't need to worry, as Cana thinks you like bragging, don't you, Aguila? Noting in my old world, it'd be more like real followers versus fake, thinking only using my name like that is cute in comparison. Aguila shouts, why won't anyone believe me? Standing outside the school building, Aguila kicks a bench shouting shit. This world revolves around nobles like us, damn it. Asking why would anyone listen to a faceless commoner and not me. Narration explains he'd improve his family's reputation and take both the money and listeners, or at least, that's what he wanted to do, noting I don't like streamer and my family isn't that popular, so I want his fame for myself. Hoping if I'm lucky, I'll get any idiot listeners to listen to me and give me money. Concluding to do that, I just need to become him. Maria and the saintess watch as the saintess says what a truly foolish man, as Cana thinks he's such an idiot. Of course it won't go well, to begin with, you need an unlimited amount of magic to even. Cana thinks indeed, if someone's this dumb then they can't be saved. Cana asks, when did you two? As they reply, sorry about that, we had some plans with Aguila too. The saintess asks, do you know of Lord Streamer as well, Lord Cana? As Cana reacts. Cana admits, I am actually a fan of his, as she whispers, you too. Cana thinks, so that's why. But it seems like she doesn't know about Lord Cana's identity, asking, you were too, Maria. The saintess prays, saying, even so, just hearing Lord Streamer's voice calms my very heart. Noting at the church I've only a few moments of rest. Alphina asks, you're the same, right, Maria? As Maria blushes, saying, you didn't have to say that much, did you? And Cana stammers, I see. Aguila says, everyone won't shut up about that guy. What are they, cultists? Adding, and that's why I decided to observe his actions a little. Maria thinks bringing my sword with me was the right decision. Noting, but his sins are only getting worse and worse. Cana thinks that both the princess and the saintess were listeners. I'm so happy. Recalling, I talked about how countries should be ruled too. If they didn't mind, then I'm fine, though, noting, but I'm in front of Lord Cana, so I have to hold back. The Maria says, but honestly I don't really mind his actions, you know. Cana thinks, I see. Princess Maria sure is nice, as she says, if someone tries to sabotage someone I remotely care about, I can't forgive them. Alphina asks, what about you, Lord Cana? As Alphina says, I can't forgive Aguila either, but Cana says, well, I think it's best he stopped lying, adding, if he reflects on it, then it's all good, right? Thinking, I think not even Streamer would want him to receive any harsh punishment, as they stare at him, saying yes. A bright light flashes. Cana thinks, I can't tell, he just disappeared. And where'd he go? Thinking, what happened? The saintess says, Maria, that just now, as Maria says, you're right. I felt an evil presence's power just now. A demon appears, asking, is it true that you're Streamer? Saying, hey there, human. Shruza says, I am aware, my lady, is that not a fake? With such low mana, there's no way he could send a signal across all possible directions as Aguila thinks I can't say anything. It feels like her mere presence is stopping me. Shruza says I assume you're prepared to pay for this sin, human, declaring you dare use the name of the one I love. Aguila falls back in terror, screaming EX. Outside, Alphina asks where in the world did he go, saying I do feel as if it doesn't matter. But as a saintess, I must, while Maria notes it's probably not good for a princess to not care, huh? Maria asks what have you two been, as Alphina says to think our numbers extended to the demons. If I was a demon, then I'd have kidnapped him to confirm the rumors. They spot a dark sphere. Cana thinks I have to protect the heroines at least, thinking I don't know anything about fighting as they break in. Cana thinks what's that smell, realizing oh, Aguila, it's his smell. As Shruza says you three think so too, right? Pretty embarrassing, isn't it? Demon says ah, sorry for appearing so suddenly, as Maria and Alphina ready weapons shouting we'll handle this. Stand back, Cana, thinking a demon. Demon looks at Cana saying, streamer. Explaining our boss was pretty angry about him pretending to be streamer, you see, she's done scolding him, so I came to give him back. Demon laughs, so you were gonna do the same thing, saying indeed. I sense no animosity from him, asking so you two young ladies are standing down, as Cana says, it seems we have to. Shruza explains, including me, there are a bunch of demon listeners as well, especially our boss, the demon lord, is pretty into him and listens to all his streams. Adding if you're happy, my lady, then it's okay as Cana thinks, you're kidding. Alphina says a being to connect both humans and demons. Ah, how lovely as Maria says he even conquered a demon lord. Lord streamers amashing. Demon sniffs saying those two give off the same scent as my boss. Saying, oh is that so, I'd be more willing to accept you as streamer than the poor sod over there in magic anyway, oh ho. So demons think his mana is abnormal too, thinking Maria thinks just who is he. Demon says and we did have our own plans for him, but we cannot perform a punishment heavier than this. So as Cana says my friend Maria here is restraining herself as a government official. Oh demon lord representative, let's end this conversation here. Demon smiles saying you're nice aren't you young lady? Laughing. So the demon left in an unknown spheroid, and Princess Maria went to report this in. Cana sits down sighing what a day, I'm so exhausted. As Alphina asks Lord Cana, asking what is it? And aren't you a bit close? Saying what a day indeed, make sure to rest later. Maria holds his hand saying right that thank you for helping us earlier, it made me really happy. Cana thinks I can't even look her in the face or so I'd like to say but that's too much. Thinking any man would protect a woman. Alphina holds his other hand thinking but I can still hear her, saying, you really are wonderful. Alphina says how nice of you, Lord Cana as Cana says we can't just leave him alone, can we? Aguila shakes saying, Lord Streamer please help. Where am Lord Streamer help me? People asks was he always like that? As Aguila writes furiously saying I'll rebuild my house to be fit to be Lord Streamer's fan. Narration states after that, Aguila, as if he was someone else, accepted all his lies up front and made all his family's crimes public. Cana walks in town thinking ah is that why he offered a ceasefire? If what that demon said was true, then the demon lord's listening too, as someone asks excuse me, you there, do you have a moment? A girl asks well, see could you guide me around this town, as Cana asks me what is it, okay, thinking maybe it's her first time coming here. Cana walks thinking well, an adult shop I guess asking and what's this one, while passersby whisper she's huge in more ways than one, and what a beauty. Cana points asking what's that over there, as she replies a tailor. Shruza thinks I see, this truly is interesting. Thinking so this is the town they call the capital. Passersby whisper so pretty and she's huge. As Cana asks is it your first time here? She replies indeed, it's my first time visiting to a human. She corrects herself to this town, I mean coughing. Cana thinks she's easy on the eyes, wondering I wonder if she's the sheltered beauty type. She says for making you spend your time guiding a country bumpkin, my apologies. Cana smiles saying it's fine. Adding I get to walk alongside a pretty girl like you after all. She touches her lip thinking he called me pretty, blushing. Cana says this town has some nice hidden spots too, saying I'll lead you to them. As she reacts, she thinks trying to destroy such beautiful scenery, realizing so I've been. They arrive at a quiet spot. Cana notices something thinking what is this weird atmosphere she gives off, noticing she's pretty strange. Cana asking are you not human, she says how surprising. She laughs then admits I see now of course you'd see through them, She says, what a wonderful feeling, explaining with these items my subordinates gave me I thought I'd successfully hidden myself as a human. Kanata saying, what are you talking about? She reveals her ears saying, indeed, I am not, noting you're sharp. Kanata stammers, you really aren't human. She says this hidden spot you brought me to is quite convenient, glancing around saying there aren't any humans nearby and I don't sense any magic. She transforms amidst dark energy saying as a reward for seeing through me, I'll show you who I am. Kanata thinks this aura, thinking it's exactly like his. As she says, let me introduce myself once more. She poses saying I am the humble demon Shruza. She stands in a glowing aura. Kanata gulps saying well, I'm Kanata, asking is just Kanata fine? She replies Kanata, I see. She says well yeah Kanata thinks I see. So there's magic like that too. She explains I've cut us off from the outside world, the only one who can perceive me here is you Kanata. She asks what do you think of demons? Kanata thinks I got asked that before, looking up. She thinks Kanata, magic sure is deep. I should have studied it more before I went to school. Kanata says, but it'd definitely be better if we start getting along, noting demons and humans have a history of fighting with each other. He adds, personally, I don't think they're any different, really saying if someone dies in war then demons would grieve too, wouldn't they? She smiles thinking good, his eyes are good. And says yes, indeed, even we shed tears when a comrade dies. She approaches saying say, Kanata, noting you've got a wonderful amount of mana, don't you? Kanata asks, and you can see how much mine exceeds yours. She replies the amount you have is far greater than mine, saying I did not think a human like you existed. Kanata thinks it's the same thing he said, remembering how demons can see waves from anyone's mana. She transforms back saying, but I see I can accept it now. Kanata thinks we're back as she says I cannot tell, I cannot see its limits after all. She takes his hand saying both humans and demons should walk hand in hand. Adding that, just like this, Kanata, you agree with me, right? Kanata says yeah, the path there'll be tough, adding but I think we can definitely do it. She says I see, I hope so. Kanata thinks the hands holding me are a bit cold, but other than that, she's no different from us. She laughs saying he talked about how peaceful it'd be if we got along, saying there's a guy here called Streamer and he has the same opinion. Kanata thinks did I say something weird? She shows a screen saying indeed, he said those same things. Adding rather it was thanks to his very words that I changed. She says my apologies, I'm a fan of his you see. Kanata asks, hey Shruza, is Streamer famous over there too? She replies he's fairly popular, yes, though the more hard-headed elders don't like him. Kanata thinks, the demon world, I wonder what kind of place it is, thinking maybe it's similar to my world's overseas countries. He realizes she just told me something I shouldn't know. Feeling happy but she says, but the demon lord is already taking care of them. She invites him saying, why don't you come next time? Saying if I'm with you you'll be let in. Kanata reacts, she adds you're more than welcome my human friend, saying both of us. Kanata thinks you're a bit close. Stammering I if we both have time. Kanata's strange day off began to end. After promising to meet again she went back home. And Kanata had not noticed who Shruza truly was. Noting by the way no one in the human realm knows of the demon lord's true name. Streamer points saying alright then, it's a bit earlier than usual but we're ending it here. Adding you guys should sleep early sometimes too, alright. Kanata's strange day off began to end. Kanata yawns saying I'm beat from being a tour guide. Good night to no one in particular. At least it was supposed to, but a figure in a mask watches him sleep.